Lamont, you've been through it once. Have you talked to the new guys about just what an 18-game SEC schedule entails, or are you just doing a Mississippi State Saturday?
Yeah, we have talked just a little bit about that. Not a whole lot, honestly. We're just continuing to try to get better as a team. We talked a little bit about the challenges of some of the things that we've done successfully in these first 13 games. They'll be made more difficult in these next 18 games just due to length, overall size, athleticism. But as a general rule, the things that have allowed us to win these games are the things that we're going to have to continue to do in these games. So being competitive, I think that's a big part of being able to get those things done.
Specifically, what are those things that you guys have done well these 13?
I think we've done a good job of being sound defensively, taking care of the ball. I think the shot quality that we've generated is really high as a general rule. I mean, I think we've had one day where we really shot the ball well. And hopefully as we move forward, we'll have more days like that. But the quality of shot that we've generated has been really good. Blocking out, right? It's going to be easier to block some of the guys that we've already played out versus a couple of the guys on some of these teams, right? So I think some basic things. Playing together, sharing the ball. We've shared the ball incredibly well. The numbers say that, but my eyeballs say that more importantly. And so just continuing to do those things.
I guess on the confidence level, week by week, game by game, has grown amongst these guys that they believe in what you guys can achieve.
They believe in what we can achieve because they believe in what we do and how it impacts winning. They know if we do these things which are attainable, reproducible, making 18 threes helps you win a basketball game. That's not reproducible on an every night basis, but blocking out consistently, defending, playing your rules defensively, commitment to that, those are reproducible things that have generated results for these guys. Therefore, they have a lot of belief in that, and they have a lot of belief in their own abilities too.
You've had a couple weeks here, just one game in I think 15 days. What's practice like during a stretch like that? You got to push a little harder without an opponent. You got to pull back. What's it like managing a stretch?
Yeah, sometimes it's a different. We've spent a lot more time in these lean practices, lean in terms of number of games that we're playing. We spend a lot more time in working on our own stuff, getting good at the things that we do. And then as we get closer to a game, we start to dial it in relative to our opponent, which is what we did today. Was really the first day that we really spent a lot of time with trying to do some defensive things against Mississippi State. And so tomorrow will be a full practice exclusively committed to Mississippi State, and then we'll obviously get to game day.
Depth is huge when you guys start conference play. How comfortable do you feel now that you've seen this team play against quality opponents, get an opportunity to kind of get your full viewpoint of what this team can do up and down the roster?
Yeah, if you look at a lot of our guys in terms of minutes, I still think we only have one guy averaging over 30 minutes. As you get into the season, maybe some of that changes a little bit, but we got a lot of guys that are playing and playing consistently. Every game they go in and play double figures minutes. The number of guys that we have do that is a high number, and I think it keeps guys fresher. I think it's also we have a lot of guys that can, if one guy or two guys aren't shooting the ball well, you bring another guy in who has the ability to do that. And I think the depth will be a big thing for us. I think you can absorb and handle foul trouble a little bit better. Again, an injury potentially, knock on wood, we don't have any of that, but I think you can absorb that better. So I think depth is a huge part of as you get into the conference play, into an 18-game conference slate, and in terms of doing well.
Lamont, a two-part question here. How do you feel about your post team, your bigs?
Good. I think they've done. It's been a revolving door. A lot of guys have gotten in. One day, one guy looks better than another guy, but I feel good about what they've done, and especially defensively, I really try to evaluate the crux of what our success has been defensive minded. We like to score, we like to play offense too, But if we defend at a high level, we have a chance, and we've done that, and those guys have all come in and been able to contribute on the defensive end.
That's because the SEC seems to be really dominated by big guys this year, starting with Tolu on Saturdays. How do you feel about the team's ability to handle that game after game?
Yeah, good. I mean, having numbers is a big part of it. I think if you're relying on one guy to do it, a guy gets in foul trouble again, or a guy just has a matchup that doesn't suit him. But I think doing it by committee gives you a better chance to, you have more guys that can go in there and burn a foul if you need. And sometimes we'll do that. A guy catches the ball. It'd be nice if the game was perfect and everything you wanted to happen happened. But sometimes good players like Tolu are going to catch it where you don't want them to catch it, and you have some guys that can burn a foul, and then they got to take it out of bounds and do it again. And so, if you only got one guy, it's hard to do that. You only get 5 fouls a game, but you have multiple guys. I think you can use those to your advantage.
We talk about what you learned in this non-conference schedule, but is there anything you learned from last year that you're taking into this SEC play?
I think just tweaks that you want to do, I think on both sides of the ball, but specifically defensively, how teams play. I think the things that are most important, this game, you got to take care of the basketball. You can't give them a lot of points in transition off of turnovers. I think it's such an uphill battle if you do that. So in other games, that won't be quite as big a thing. So I think the biggest thing is just familiarity with how teams want to play and schematically what they're trying to get done, as well as some personnel. Personnel, it continues, the importance of personnel continues to change because less and less teams have guys coming back. There's just so much happening and so many moving parts. But when they do have guys on this team that like a Tolu, and we got guys that have played against him before, and they'll be a little more familiar with what his go-to and pet moves are, and how to defend him.
A psychological question for you.
Okay.
A one-loss team, going into conference play. Do your guys feel like what a one-loss team should feel like? Do they look to you like a one-loss team should look like as you go into conference play?
I'm not sure how to answer that, honestly. I don't know what you mean specifically, but they do have one loss. They played a lot of games. They tell me that we haven't had one loss going into regular season very often. And, guys are playing with confidence. They're playing with confidence, and they expect that if we do the things that we need to do, that we should win. Barring a terrible offensive day, if we do the things that we need to do, we should win the game. And that's the mentality of these guys going into any game. And there'll be plenty of people that write articles or haven't been to practice that are going to tell you they need a miracle to win this game or that game. Our guys have done enough. They believe in enough in each other and their abilities and what we do that if they play well, we should win. And that's a good feeling to have your guys know and believe that. And so then you got to play well. Have a reasonable offensive day and play well.
Obviously, Tolu Smith gets a lot of the attention now that he's back. What have you seen from the other guys coming from Mississippi State?
Yeah, they got Matthews has been around, and they got plenty of guys that know their system. I think that's a big part of what they do is they're a little bit different defensively. They do create turnovers. It's like a mirage. It's gonna look like something is there, and you're gonna bite on that and take that, and then when you get there, it's like a trap. And there are gonna be two guys there trying to take the ball out of your hands. And so they know their system well. They've got a lot of guys that are back and that know that system. So, they didn't accidentally fall into this record without Tolu, right? So, they'll be better with him. He's a good player, but they got plenty of guys that are playing well. They're playing well as a unit. It's a team game, and they're playing well as a unit.
Is there a team from this non-conference schedule that you feel is similar to Mississippi State at all, or do you feel like this is an entirely fresh look for you guys?
I don't really do it that way. There probably aren't enough similarities that I could say. I think some of the defensive things that in the ECU game, there are some similarities in what they do defensively in terms of trying to get you to go to the baseline, and then when you get there, bringing a lot of help to the baseline. But start talking personnel and offensively, so many differences. But I think that's probably the biggest thing is that we have at least conceptually played against that philosophy to get you to go baseline, bring a lot of help, and then make it hard to get the ball off of the baseline.
Got to ask about the magician. Where'd that idea come from, and how'd you know him?
Yeah, I bumped into him at one of the football games. He's actually from Ohio. I'm from Ohio originally, so we got to talking about that, and just I knew what he did. I've been around teams that had a magician come before, and it's it always blows your mind. I tell the guys that magic is real, but they're so good, they're so skilled that even the close-up sleight of hand stuff that you know what he's doing, but you still can't detect that he's doing that. That the guys get fascinated by it. It's over break. I wanted to do something fun for the guys and with the guys, and so yeah, we've done this before with some of our teams in the past, but it's gonna be great. Guys' minds will be blown by it, but it just lightens things up. Guys have been working really hard. They're here over break, and there's not a lot of people here. Students aren't here, so to be able to do something fun like this for them is really rewarding.
Speaking of the break, what other team activities have you guys done while the rest of campus has kind of been back at home or anything like that to kind of keep you guys together and all that kind of stuff?
Not a ton, honestly. The guys spend a lot of time together. They do that during the regular season, during the regular part of the year, and also over break. I think it's good that they've forged such good relationships that they don't feel the need to have thousands of people on campus. They really value the time with each other. But honestly, for us, it's been practice. And while that may sound silly to say, our guys enjoy practice. I enjoy practice. And I know they enjoy practice and the time that they get to spend. We're staying after practice today because we have Emil and we have the magician, but every practice we have 6-8 guys that just hang around, and some of them are getting work in, some of them are just hanging out watching the other guys get work in and talking about what they're going to watch on TV that night. So it's a really, really, really good group. I can't stress that enough. They enjoy each other, being around each other and the times they spend. So really, one activity that we get to do almost every day is to come in here and practice.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lamont.
Thanks.
Thank you.